Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about social anxiety as we have Thanksgiving coming up and holidays after that as well, where we are going to be gathering with a larger group of people, which can bring on some anxiety, whether or not we're happy to be around them. Social anxiety doesn't just go away. So I wanted to share some of my tips and tricks that I have learned over the years and take it into my Thanksgiving as someone who is really extroverted but started to experience some social anxiety after COVID and kind of forgetting how to just interact and having some negative things happen that made me want to seclude myself. And now it's really hard to go out and talk to new people or talk to people I haven't seen in a while, and it makes me anxious and I don't like it. I don't like showing up to places and not feeling prepared. So if you feel that same way, I wanted to just share with you some of the things that have helped me. With Thanksgiving comes a lot of family, and it may be a lot of family that has different viewpoints or different things about them, and some of them you may not really know, some of them you may know really well, some of them you might see once every 10 years. Like I have a portion of my family that I haven't seen in ages, and they're coming to this year's Thanksgiving. And sometimes you don't have the ones that you know coming because they have a last minute thing. You know, Thanksgiving is kind of a whole lot of just things jumbled up and mixed together, and a whole lot of people and a whole lot of different personalities just kind of mixed together. So that can be really anxiety inducing, especially for me as someone who's like, I have these people that I barely know that are coming to this Thanksgiving that are family, and I can't go into like too much because again, they're family, but let's just say they're not the types of people I would probably surround myself with in the day-to-day basis, and they're a little bit of a question mark, and that you never really know what's coming next type of thing. And I haven't seen them since I was young, and I didn't have necessarily the best experience as a younger kid. So that makes me nervous, right? And I am trying to just remind myself of kind of who they are, what sorts of things they enjoy, and okay, who are their kids, and you know, what are the recent happenings that I've heard of, or people in my family who might keep in touch more than I do might know that I can ask them about. So for example, if you need like just fail-safe topics, you can always ask about someone's kids. If they are someone who has kids, you can always ask questions about themselves, and if they start giving you all this information, just keep asking them about themselves, and then you may not really ever have to even talk, which is amazing. You can always circle the conversation back to something that is non-polarizing somehow. Like you can just talk about oh, I'm so excited for this that's coming up, or I'm so thankful all the family's here, or something general like that. If they're like going on this tangent that you don't want to be there for, or they're just, you're having an uncomfortable conversation, you can be like, yeah, you know what, it's just nice to have all this family around. Boom, end the conversation. Go to safe people in your family if you have people to go talk to. One thing to do is to figure out who is actually coming to your Thanksgiving. And once you know the guest list per se, you can start to familiarize yourself with the members of your family that are coming, or even friends if you have friends over that are coming, or friends of friends that you don't really know anything about. Just refamiliarize yourself with them so that you can then ask them questions. Let's also talk about some blanket questions that you can ask pretty much anyone. How are you? What's new with you? How are your kids? How is insert this fact you know about their life? Like, how's this job going? Oh, you just moved to Nashville. How is that? Oh, you just blah blah blah. How's that? Oh, we have a mutual friend, or like a cousin, oh, how is he? You know, he's not here. How is he? Oh, how are they doing? Da 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 da. And then just keep continuing the conversation about them. Another thing that I do to prepare myself personally is to choose the topics ahead of time, that when people ask me what's going on with you, or what's this, what's that, and kind of have those at the ready and don't steer away from those, so that it doesn't cause tension or conflict or just uncomfortability on your part of sharing too much if you don't want to overshare. And so just pick the safe things. Like for me, okay, I'm planning on moving soon. People are going to ask me where I'm going to move. That's a little bit uncomfortable because I'm not sure, and I don't really care to hear other people's opinions about it. But I might just say, oh, well, I'm looking for a big life change, trying to figure out what the next steps are. I'm not really sure yet. So there's not really much concrete I can give you an update on. Boom. See how easy that is? And I have it ready to go. And then if they continue asking questions, I'm just like, I don't really know, so I don't have an answer for you. And yeah. I also just take time to mentally prepare myself for the cast of characters that I am going to be in the room with. And I know that I'm not going to necessarily enjoy every single aspect of it, but there are things that I can do to kind of make it better. For example, my little cousins might be there, and if they're there, then I'll go play with them if I need a break from the adults in the room. Or if my favorite aunt is there, I'm gonna go talk to her. If my favorite great aunt is there, let me go talk to her, you know, those sorts of things. Unfortunately, one of my favorite cousins to hang out with never spends Thanksgiving with us, so I don't really have that in my back pocket, but it would be nice. And or like I have a built-in safety net, my brother, which is great, so I can talk to him. But identifying those safe people or safe things to go do when you do feel uncomfortable about a conversation, you just need a little break, you're feeling overstimulated, so you're going to go talk to someone who kind of can identify with that sort of thing. So I don't know who that is for you, if there is anyone. Or you can also just go take a little bathroom break. If you really need a break and there's no one that you can pull aside, you can just go reset in the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, come back out and rejoin the conversation. The other thing is just keep snacking, because when you're eating, people aren't going to talk to you as much or expect you to talk, which is overall, I think for me, the more prepared I can be for what kind of things I'm going to ask, who I might run into and have to speak to, and those sorts of things, is really, really helpful for me, because then I kind of have an idea of where the conversation might go, and I also have an idea of what I am comfortable sharing or not sharing, so I don't just blurt out whatever, because knowing me, I probably would, but I don't necessarily want to. So just making sure that I know that I want to keep the things and the details kind of as light as possible on myself, and I'm gonna have to prepare myself for all the, do you have a boyfriend? Why don't you have a boyfriend? Oh my goodness. Da, 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 da. All those questions. So fun to deal with. We love those. Happen every year and nothing's changed. I don't know what to tell you, you know? Always awkward because you're like, no, and they're like, why not? And you're like, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. So that's always fun. But I think just going into it, taking deep breaths, kind of centering yourself as best you can, and knowing that you can leave the conversation if it makes you feel uncomfortable, and you can go take a break however you can to escape. You can you can focus on eating when it is time for everyone to share the meal. You can go be with the littles if there are any littles. You can go be with your sibling if your sibling is there and you get along and that's like a safe space for you. Whatever it is, make sure you just have that. Yeah, I think just overall, like I said, being as prepared as possible is really helpful for me, even though you cannot predict a conversation and where it's going to go. having some talking points and having some things about yourself that are interesting but feel safe to share with the people that you may not want to share all the info with is always great, and it helps me just calm down a little bit. I wish you the very best Thanksgiving and holiday season. I hope these tips were helpful, as families can be a lot sometimes, and there's a lot of different personalities in the mix, a lot of different views in the mix, and we gotta love them, you know? At least me. I love my family, crazy as they may be, or unknown to me as they may be. They're still my family, and I want to be kind to them, and I want to enjoy the time as best I can, even though I do get pretty anxious that there are some people that I don't really know that are coming, and they're family, but I know not very much about them. So that's always fun, and knowing that I'm going into it with the "where are you moving? Do you have a boyfriend?" questions when I don't have my life figured out is a little bit daunting, but as you heard my answer before, I've got it down. So hopefully you can kind of prepare yourself for similar things if you're in a similar place, or just prepare yourself for what you may walk into and talking points that you want to have for family members that you aren't as familiar with. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'm thankful you're here. Until next time.